Alright, let's try this again. Hello, you beautiful people out there. My name is Majestic Muffin, and welcome back to Special Effects Saturday. Today is a little bit of a different video. I've been wanting to do this for a hot second since, like, oh my god, since February. Since February, I've been wanting to do this. But I wanted to do a special effects video while also talking about a movie, I guess. I wanted to talk about Wolfman that came out a few months ago. It was really good. I liked it a lot, and I took notes because they had a lot of practical effects there. And I don't know if you can hear that, but Timmy is absolutely going ham on himself. Timmy, hey! If only you could see the void that is staring back at me. Sorry if lighting's a little bit weird. This is my first time recording in this setup. I need more lights and different lights. I have like above lights, but they're really warm. They don't really look great. But yeah, so I watched it thrice, I think. And I like it every single time. It's different. It's not like the first Wolfmen that are out and about out there. It's like they took the concept and they changed it, which I thought was pretty refreshing because I thought it was just gonna be another like, oh, this is a remake and everything's the exact same except the graphics are better. We don't need that shit. Get that shit out of here. We do not need that. We need new stuff. And even though it was based on an old concept, it was new, it was a new iteration of it, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna be yapping your fucking ear off while I'm also doing the special effects. But I'm gonna be recording it differently because I can't talk and do things at the same time. I could, but that's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be great. So I'm gonna talk while also showing you guys the clips of doing this. So this makeup that I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna make myself look like the Wolfman because that would be really cool, but I don't want to do that really right now. So I'm just going to do his arm wound because I really, really liked that wound. It looked so fucking good. It was so gross. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, first off, there's gonna be spoilers. There's gonna be a lot of spoilers for this movie. So if you haven't seen Wolfman, go check it out now. This is not sponsored. It should be, but it's not. And go check it out. It's really good. Then come back and watch this video while I talk about it and I can yap about it to you. So have fun. Anyway, now that you're back, so the scene where it's well, I guess I could just talk about it like from the get-go, like, because my notes are his progression. I wrote the progression of wolfiness. So, and the first thing that you see, well, first off, he gets scratched, right? And my dad, who is a diehard, like, Universal monster fan, he was like, that's not how it works. You have to get bit. And I was like, Father, it is different now. They're changing it. But he gets scratched. So there's a whole car crash scene that happens there. The basis of the story is you have this guy, right, that I forgot his name. You have this dude, and his dad went missing for so long that he was determined dead by the state of fucking wherever they are. He inherits his house, right? So they, of course, you know, oh, I have a dead relative and I'm gonna go inherit their haunted house. But it's not haunted, actually. It's haunted by the ghosts of the past. But that's it. It's a little bit of a bit of a trope, but it's cool. And his wife, whom he loves, and she, whether she loves him back or not is determined in the movie later. And they have their little daughter with them too. Nothing happens to the kid. Okay, this isn't Nosferatu. The kids don't get eaten alive. He's like, let's take a break. We'll go out there for the summer. It'll be a fun time. She'll get to, our little child that I forgot her name, is going to experience the world, and we'll have fun and all this shit. And she's like, fine, even though our marriage is failing, so maybe this will be the last thing that saves it. And it does until, you know, everything bad happens. So they have a U-Haul, right? And they go and driving in this fucking U-Haul, and they're in the mountains, and he meets his old neighbor, and he's still there in like this weird tree blind, and he's looking all weird. He's like, I'll take you to your dad's place. I know you haven't been here in a while. Let's go. And he hops in the truck and they go. And they get in a fucking car crash because we find out later. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but it's one of the wolf men is chilling in the middle of the fucking road and he swerves to miss it and they crash through the trees and they're hanging sideways in the fucking truck. And a bunch of shit happens. One dude dies. He falls out of the truck because he's stupid. And the wolfman comes through and like scratches his arm, right? He's like, wow. And also, I'm sorry if you hear running water. I'm in my dad's basement. They find their way inside. The first thing that you notice differently that is changing about him is his smell. He's smelling different things, right? So they're downstairs and in the basement trying to find like an old CB radio that his dad had, and he smells something, and like his wife is not smelling shit, right? Like her nose stuffed, basically. Like she cannot smell it. And he's like, oh, I smell something, you know? Like, and he opens this door and it's an old meat freezer. Mind you, right? This house has been abandoned for at least 30 years, right? Because I think you have to be missing for, I think it was Ohio, but I think in the state of Ohio, I think it's 30 years you have to be missing to be declared dead. So his generator, which still works by the way, was not running, right? So his base power ran out at least 30 years ago. And so there's a bunch of rotting meat in there. Gross, but he smells it. And he goes in there and he finds jerky, right? And jerky, that's hit or miss whether that's actually good at this point, but you know, you're lost in the woods in your dad's house and that's all that you have? Yeah, jerky. And he eats it and the jerky's fine, but what isn't fine is that his teeth starts falling out. And if you know me, right, or you don't, but if you did, you would know that I hate dealing with like teeth falling out or fingernails falling out or being pulled out. It's gross, it's disgusting, and I hate it, right? And that happens, and then his arm starts like bleeding more, and his wife is like, oh my gosh, and she immediately finds a first aid kit somehow. Not my fucking movie. And she wraps him in this gauze, right? And she's like, oh, let's get him upstairs. And then upstairs, you think you're going genuinely insane because he's barricading up the door and he's like hammering shit in there and he's saying stuff and he's like, I don't even remember what the fuck he's saying. He said something and his wife is just standing there. And then he says something to his daughter and she's just, answer your fucking father, bitch. Like, what do you mean? Like, how are you not hearing this man talk to you right now? Or at the very least, why aren't you responding to him? Because she's asking him dumb questions. And he's like, whatever, fuck it. Like, let me just barricade this fucking door. Turns out, his speech, like, it's starting to become, like, garbled, right? You can't understand what he's saying. And you're starting not being able to understand what he's saying because he's turning into a fucking wolf and wolf can't speak English. Right? Wolves cannot speak English. And after this, we start to do, like, get other senses, right? And he hears, like, this walking. And they're the only people in the house other than that creepy wolf dude that's outside. So he's walking around, like, saying, what the fuck is this? And you just hear this boom, 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 boom. You know, like this fucking walking. And he finds his way upstairs, and it gets louder and louder, and he opens the door into, like, this closet. It's a spider. His hearing is so enhanced, because, you know, wolves and animals, they can hear better than humans, right? And it's so enhanced that he could hear the spider walking all the way downstairs. I think this is when he starts doing his slouching and animalistic walking. Right? It's creepy as shit the way he portrays this, and it's really cool. He's a great actor, but like, he's a really great actor, but I digress. It's really gross, him like slouching and like walking like an animal. It's disgusting. And he passes out, right? And so they take him up like to this bed or whatever, and they're all chilling in the bed. And his wife can't understand a single fucking thing he's saying. And then it switches to his like point of view, and it's so cool the way they like showed it, because like his vision was like super like UV light, super bright, super weird. Like his wife was starting to not retain the same face, and it would switch from her talking, and like it would switch to his point of view, and he couldn't understand what she was saying either. It was like she was saying complete nonsense. It was so cool because like, yeah, Tim, you're ignoring me on purpose. He can hear some words, right? He can understand what I'm saying sometimes because I teach him this, right? But my base talking, he can't fucking understand that. A wolfman isn't gonna understand that either, which is so cool. And then, like his fucking, is this when this happens? Yeah, I think this is when it happens. His arm. Oh my god, this arm scene is fucking insane. So this is what I'm basing the special effects off of, right? And it's when it's like she starts noticing like a bunch of blood, like a shit ton of blood is pooling on his arm. So she like takes his like shirt down or whatever, like the sleeve, and she starts unraveling the gauze, and his skin is fucking gone. It is not there. His skin just like took a vacay. It's gone, and you just see a bunch of muscles, sinews, and like you see his bone, and he freaks out, and he sees that it's blood, and he smells it, and he's a wolfman thing, and he starts eating his fucking arm. He starts eating his arm. He runs in the corner and goes, it's so gross. And I'm pretty sure more teeth fall out at that time, but I digress. He stops eating his arm, right? Wife and kid are horrendously freaked out. And then there's like a whole lapse where they're like fighting this dude, like this other wolf man, and they run outside. There's a truck outside, right? And they run. And by the time they get to the truck, his fucking lower jaw is starting to stick out like this. Like, you know, like the original Wolfman, because he was just like, you know. What the fuck did I write? I wrote stancing up with his hands and shit. Whatever that means. I think it means like, you know. They end up running, right, to this like greenhouse thing, and he jumps off of it and fights this other wolfman while his wife and kid get inside. And while this is happening, you know, you hear a bunch of just like wolf sounds and yelping and fighting and shit, and he finds his way inside. And like he finds his way to the house, and he's standing out there, and he just hears the creepiest, like grossest breathing you've ever heard in your life. And just except lower and creepier and more animalistic. And the kid's like, that's daddy, let's let him in. And his wife is like, fuck no, are you kidding me? But she lets him inside, and he's just like walking all creepy and shit, and it's gross. Like, you can see that this man is no longer a dude, right? He is no longer a man, and he's something else. My notes are all over the place. Talked about the first wound, the sizzling of the alcohol, really cool looking. His face looking all weird, and his eyes turning black. Yeah, his eye, they don't really turn like black completely. His pupil, they just are devoid of like, they don't get reflected in the light. So like when an animal that like sees in the dark, you know how a cat, like you shine a light and in the dark in their eyes and it'll reflect, right? That's basically what would happen to him, except it was dark, so it was like you couldn't see it. It was real gross. Oh yeah, before he comes back to the house and shit and the whole fight thing, his hair starts falling out, right? And like tufts of his hair just starts running away. And let's see, which is rude. Male pattern baldness is something that affects us all. And yeah, okay, so now we're back to track. I don't know why that was all fucked up in my notes, but the other wolfman comes in and they start fighting, and our dude, our wolfman, our dad, he like rips the throat out of the other Wolfman, and that shit looks so fucking cool. You could just see chunks, and then you just see blood just spurting, and it was so cool. It was, I love practical effects, right? I love shit like that, and it's so visceral and makes it look so much more real, and just like, you know, dude dies, right? And our Wolfman, he leaves, right? Because something's off. Because he also chased down his wife at one point, and then he like realized, like, you know, whatever humanity was left in him, he was like, this is wrong. I can't hurt my wife and kid, right? And also, very important thing to note is in the movie, after the first fight, before the other Wolfman was dead, his daughter comes through and he's like talking to him, and he's like, and she's like, Daddy, it's me! And she says something like really, I forget what their thing was, but they had a thing where, oh, it was like, what am I thinking? He would put his hand, or her hand, to his forehead, and he'd be like, what am I thinking right now? And she'd be like, that I'm the prettiest girl in all the land, or whatever the fuck it was. Or that, like, I love you so much, you know, it was actually really sad and cute. And she did that to him, and was like, what am I thinking right now? And he went, and like switched over to his point of view, and her voice was like really garbled, you didn't understand it. And then it slowly went away, and all the noise went away, and you could actually hear her. I think it was because their bond was super strong, right? Much stronger than the wife's was. Their bond was not strong at all. They should have broke off their marriage a long time ago. So I think that's what that was. She was able to cut through like this infection that was happening, and he could understand her. And then he ended up leaving and going outside, and it's a super sad scene of him transforming, right? And in all like the old Wolfman movies, the transforming it's sad because like you're losing your humanity and becoming this bloodthirsty fucking monster, essentially. And it was so disgusting. And I think this was most of this movie was a mix of practical and visual effects because, you know, you need to have some of it. So I don't know if the bones moving underneath his skin was visual or practical or not. I'll look it up and put it in this video, we'll see. It was gross. It was so gross. His bones were like changing and shifting and reforming, and his skin was falling off, and his hair was falling off, and sorry, that just reminded me of like her limbs were cut off, her arms were cut off, her head was cut off. Grabs his face because it's like it's growing and changing and shifting, and grabs it, and he breaks his jaw down, and it resets down here and like further out, and his teeth are like falling out and being replaced by sharp teeth, and like his nails are falling off and like being replaced by claws. I love that shit. It's so cool. Monster transformations are one of my favorite things. I love the attention to detail that this movie had with this shit. And a lot of people were upset that they didn't have a lot of hair, right? When you think of Wolfman, you think of this hairy dude that's on 2 legs and he's running around, he's like, bah, 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 bah. And he was not that hairy. But I think it was because the other Wolfman, who was much older, is his dad, right? And his dad was obviously older than him. And this was an older werewolf. And he had much more hair. He had full head of hair, he had full beard, his arms were hairier, all this shit. He had much more hair. So I think it was just because he was a young werewolf. It was literally his first time changing, and the hair just didn't grow like that yet. That's what I think. I think that makes the most sense. Canonically. And people were like, oh, he's not hairy. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, but like, what if you think about it this way? Maybe. Use your brain. Fuck. Later, right, he's all creepy, and his wife and kid are trying to escape again. Just wait till daytime. Right? Not that they know that this thing doesn't come out in the day, but also earlier, his fucking old neighbor was like, you can't be out here at night, you know how it is. And our dude was like, well, yeah, I thought my dad was just weird, and his neighbor was like, you'll die out here at night, you know? Like, really ominous and creepy. Just wait till daytime. Just wait till daytime. He finds his way in the house again, and he like, sees the wife and the kid, right? And he's chasing after the wife, but then he sees the kid, and he starts reaching his arm out towards her. Not in like a, way, more like the forehead thing. It looked like he was gonna do the forehead thing again. Anyways, I was saying, he starts doing the fucking forehead thing again, I think is what he was gonna do. And his wife, understandably freaked out, has like a fucking machete or an axe or something, I don't remember what it was, and hits his fucking arm and sprints and just cuts him. And now I think is when he was starting to zoot off the werewolf genes and he was angry and just. But I also think it was a part of him that needed his family. He needed his daughter and his wife, I guess. And he was running after them. And they find their way in this barn, right? And it's this really cool sequence after, like, she locks it obviously, but he's like a dog, so he digs under the barn. He digs under the door, and he finds his way in because he's a dog. They're sitting there, she has a flashlight, and it's not on. They're hiding behind something, and it's pitch black. You cannot see shit. And it does the thing again where it turns around and goes to his point of view, and he can see pretty much everything. They did this really cool thing with the colors and like heat signatures and stuff, and it just looks so fucking cool. I should have a cool counter because I've said cool so many goddamn times in this video, but it's so neat how he's just walking through everything, and it looks so he can see everything. But then you get to his wife and daughter, and they have these weird fucked up faces. They do not look human. To him, they literally just look like some scary thing that I need to kill because it's threatening my life. That's scary. And she turns on the flashlight, and obviously it flashbangs him because he has night vision. And there's a bear trap, and he steps in it. And they sprint, and the sound design in this movie is so good. It's so creepy. It's so, like, haunting. They're running, and you can just hear this blood-curdling, painful fucking scream. And animals, right? When they get stuck somewhere and they can't get out, for example, if a fox has its leg caught in something, like a fence, and it can't get out, it will chew its leg off, All animals will do that because the base thing is they need to survive, and they know that if they stay stuck there, someone is going to get them or they will starve. They will die. So they chew their fucking leg off or arm or whatever's stuck, and they get out and they deal with that shit later. That's exactly what he did. It was so gross. And granted, right, an animal would wait a bit longer probably before resorting to this as like a last resort. But I think, obviously, first off, for movie's sake and time's sake, they couldn't do that. But yeah, he starts chewing his leg off at the ankle. So, ew, gross, disgusting. And you see him crawl, and it's just this bloody stump following after him. And then he starts running! He starts running with his stumpy leg, and he's like, well, it's more like a crawl sprint thing. Like, cause obviously he can't run, he can't like do this, cause he's got this now. So he's like jumping while using his knee and his one leg that's working. It's gross. And there's this really cool scene where he's in the woods for the first time. I think this is right after he turned. I don't know. I've got the movie all mixed up. It's been a hot second since I've seen it. It's been like a month. But I've been doing other shit, so I haven't gotten to this video yet. But I digress. And you can see through his point of view, it looks like the trees are on fucking fire, and he hears just wolves and shit, and then he starts howling, right? And I think that was, when he first completely turned. But I digress. They're running in the woods, and somehow she finds this fucking way to the old tree blind, which at the very beginning of this movie, we see a little wolfman and a big wolfman as humans, and they're being chased by a wolfman, and they go in the tree blind, and it runs away. And it's the same tree blind, and it's a really cool parallel where it's almost the same exact thing where we are looking at the door and you just hear this like breathing and this raspiness and just like him like crawling up the fucking tree blind. And in the very beginning of the movie, you don't see the monster, right? He stops here and you just see the breath, like the breath, you know what I mean? The steam, because it was hot and it was cold, you know, steam. And then it goes away. But like him, you see the breath, and then you see a hand, and another hand, and then his gross fucking face pop up. And, a little odd, the daughter's looking at him, and she's like, Daddy! And he's like, bah! You know? And then he stays there, and like, he just looks sad as shit. He looks so upset. And she's like, Mommy, Daddy wants you to fucking kill him, you know, like, she's like, Daddy wants this to be over, and I'm like, can you understand wolf then? Because I fucking can't. I'm still not 100% sure about that. Maybe it's their bond, but like, I still, you know, I digress. The mom fucking shoots him point blank in the chest, and he, pew, off the tree blind, which honestly, that was fucking rude. Why didn't you just shoot him in the head and get done with it? Like, but. And then they go down, they say their goodbyes, and the kid puts her little hand on his little gross-ass forehead, and she's like, oh, I love you, Dad, you know, and it's really sad. Like, this movie really focuses on the fact that these stories are sad, right? You don't really think about it that much because you think about, oh, old monster movies, oh, these are cool, you know? But it's a really sad story about this man losing himself and losing his entire family, his entire life, because of something that wasn't even his fault, really, right? He has this terrible thing happen to him, and he almost hurts his wife and his kid, and they're the only things that he cares about, and then they're ripped away from him. And he's ripped away from them. They have to live with this shit and this trauma that was inflicted on them unintentionally. Like, they obviously didn't want this to happen. And it's so sad. It's so sad. It really leans into that, which I really like. I think that was really refreshing, because you don't think about the humanity in monsters, really, right? You think of monsters and you think of something that's not human, something that is chaotic evil and does not care about anything except murder, when in reality, a lot of monsters, they do obviously have feelings, right? Like, this man had feelings, and it's really sad. Well, monsters, I say as if they're real, but you know what I mean. Basically, like, there's humanity in everything, and when that humanity's gone, what's left? You know? Answer that in the comments, I guess, because I don't know. But yeah, this movie was really sad, and I liked it a lot, and I watched it multiple times, and I will watch it again, because I loved it. Tell me what you thought about the Wolfman movie. And tell me if you want more of me of like talking about movies and shit. Cause like, I like movies, I watch them. I mean, I don't like, they're not a giant part of my life, but when I do watch them, they're horror movies, right? Like, I also watched Hard Eyes. Holy shit, that movie was so good. It was so good as well. It was really campy. It really played into like comedy and stuff, but it was also like really serious. Like, they played into like the, oh, romance, you know, but that's a whole different movie though. That was really good. I will be watching that again as well, because slay. All in all, thank you for sitting through this and hearing me talk. I had fun. Yeah, let me know if you want me to do more of these. If you want me to talk about more horror things and do more special effects while talking about shit, you know, because like, doing something to spice things up. I've never done this before, okay? Help me. But yeah, so the look should be finished by now. And I'll be taking pictures as well, so look out for that. And yeah, like if you like it, subscribe if you like it, and I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video. Bye bye.